بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم ابسط علينا رحمتك وانشر علينا من حكمتك وافتح لنا فتوح العارفين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah ta'ala. In these classes, what we are going to do, as this is the introduction of Al-Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk Book 1, what we are going to do is we are going to have, first of all, the main text. And then after the main text, once you've covered everything, then you're going to have at the end of every single class, more like a little homework. So it will be recorded as part of the lesson itself. What you need to do is mushafahatan, by speaking orally, you need to answer those questions. But on top of that, you need to be able to write it down in the notes that you will be provided. So inshallah ta'ala, we do advise you that you join our mailing list. Over there, you'll be receiving weekly updates on not just Al-Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk, lakin more than that, because we already have an nahu going on, which is Arabic grammar in Matl al-Ajurrumiyyah, and we've reached halfway, alhamdulillah, and we're moving forward. With this one as well is لإعانة الطلاب في التكلم بالعربية, to help the students so that they can speak in Arabic also. So not just diving into Arabic books, but also being able to communicate. So if you look at Al-Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk, first, it begins with the vocabulary, and then it gives you the ability to be able to start speaking a little bit. Then you end up learning that the same words that you always see, you always look at, you always listen to, you always utter, and you always write, those words, you end up finding them in several other books. And as we move along, inshallah, we'll be using examples from different parts of other texts so that you can relate to them, inshallah ta'ala. Just to let you know before we move forward, inshallah, what we are going to do, how it's going to be taught, is in this manner. First, we are going to read the text that we need to cover in each lesson. Then we're going to go back to the text and start providing the meanings of each one of those, and what does the text or maybe the lesson intend to teach in order for you to learn and leave as a student with everything that the lesson gave you. So first, you'll be able to read it. Basically, you listen as it's read without needing to know the meaning of what's read. Then after that, you have the sharh of what's already read from the text. And then on top of that, you take the main points of what the lesson provides you. And then the homework at the end will cover everything that the lesson covered, inshallah ta'ala. That's going to be the methodology that we use at the moment, all the way perhaps to the end of the text, or if we have any changes or updates, we'll let you know bi'idhnillah al-kareem. So to begin with, without further ado, we will start with the text itself, which is the first al-wahdatul ula, at-tahiyyatu wat-ta'aruf. Al-wahdatul ula, at-tahiyyatu wat-ta'aruf. Al-wahdatul ula, at-tahiyyatu wat-ta'aruf. الحوار الأول انظر واستمع وأعد. خالد: السلام عليكم. خليل: وعليكم السلام. خالد: اسمي خالد. ما اسمك؟ خليل: اسمي خليل. خالد: كيف حالك؟ خليل: بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟ خالد: بخير والحمد لله. الحوار الأول باء. انظر واستمع وأعد. خولة: السلام عليكم. خديجة: وعليكم السلام. خولة: اسمي خولة. ما اسمك؟ خديجة: اسمي خديجة. خولة: كيف حالك؟ خديجة: بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟ خولة: بخير والحمد لله. الحوار الثاني ألف. انظر واستمع وأعد. محمد: السلام عليكم. شريف: وعليكم السلام. محمد: من أين أنت؟ شريف: أنا من باكستان. محمد: هل أنت باكستاني؟ شريف: نعم أنا باكستاني. وما جنسيتك أنت؟ محمد. أنا تركي، أنا من تركيا. شريف. أهلا وسهلا. الحوار الثاني باء. انظر واستمع وأعد. مريم. السلام عليكم. زينب. وعليكم السلام. مريم. من أين أنت؟ زينب. أنا من مصر. مريم. هل أنت مصرية؟ زينب. نعم أنا مصرية. وما جنسيتك أنت؟ مريم. أنا سورية، أنا من سوريا. زينب. أهلا وسهلا. نعم. Now it sounds quite long actually, and you might think this is too much to cover, but what we are trying to do is to show you exactly, okay, you read along first, and then after you've read, now you know, okay, this is what we are covering and what should you expect. So the mind already registers, even if it's alien to you, perhaps it's your first time, your mind starts registering, this is how, this is what I'm going to learn. So this is how it's read, this is how you recite it. Because remember, in Arabic, there's Arabic recitation, which is reading the Arabic language, and there is Arabic, which is al-istima', you have to listen to the language, and also you need to also repeat what you've listened to, and on top of that there is al-kitaba, there is the writing of the Arabic. So for that reason, what we have tried to do is first recite so that you've listened carefully, and then you could repeat it on your own without having to understand first and going through the sharh. Then after that, what you can do is now go through the sharh itself. It becomes much easier, because the purpose is not just to read, the purpose is to also memorize. Because remember, part of what we are going to do is memorization of what we have covered, inshaAllah ta'ala, so that you can be able to use the words. The language you speak right now is a language that you've memorized. Don't forget that. The language you speak is a language that you've memorized, inshaAllah ta'ala. So let's begin with the sharh. Khalid said, Assalamu alaikum. Khalil said, Wa alaikum assalam. Then Khalid said, Ismi Khalid. My name is Khalid. Masmuka. Khalid said, Assalamu alaikum. Khalil said, Wa alaikum assalam. Then Khalid said, Ismi Khalid. My name is Khalid. Masmuka. What's your name? Something that I need to cover with you is this. Look. Naam. Let me. Yeah. Ismi and Ismuka. Khalil says, Ismi Khalil. My name is Khalil. Khalid says, Kayfa haluka? How are you? Khalil says, Bikhair walhamdulillah. Wa kayfa haluka anta? Now you see the haluka, ka, keeps on repeating. Masmuka, mathalan. And anta is the new one that has come up. Bikhair walhamdulillah. Now notice this. When Khawla says, Assalamu alaikum, Khadija says, Wa alaikum assalam. Then Khawla says, Ismi Khawla. My name is Khawla. My name. Masmuki. What is your name? Okay, your name. Masmuki. Khadija says, Ismi Khadija. Khawla asks, Kayfa haluki? How are you? Now notice over here, Khalid said, Assalamu alaikum. Khalil said, Wa alaikum assalam. Then Khalid said, Ismi Khalid. My name is Khalid. Masmuka. What's your name? Something that I need to cover with you is this. Look. Naam. Let me. Yeah. Ismi and Ismuka. Khalil says, Ismi Khalil. My name is Khalil. Khalid says, Kayfa haluka? How are you? Khalil says, Bikhair walhamdulillah. Wa kayfa haluka anta? Now you see the haluka, ka, keeps on repeating. Masmuka, mathalan. And anta is the new one that has come up. Bikhair walhamdulillah. Now notice this. When Khawla says, Assalamu alaikum, Khadija says, Wa alaikum assalam. Then Khawla says, Ismi Khawla. My name is Khawla. My name. Masmuki. What is your name? Okay, your name. Masmuki. Khadija says, Ismi Khadija. Khawla asks, Kayfa haluki? How are you? Now notice over here, haluka. And over here is حالك. So the ka has changed to ki now. Khadija says بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت. وكيف حالك أنت. How are you? Khawla says بخير والحمد لله. Now before we go any further inshallah ta'ala to the rest of what we have, what you need to know is this. Look at the whiteboard. Naam. When you see the kaf, such as kaf fatha or kaf kasra, and then you see the ya like this is something that we call pronouns. Pronouns. Now, how are we going to cover this? We are going to cover على حسب ما نتعلم من الكتاب ما نجد من الكتاب. We're going to cover what according to what we get from the book, according to what we learn from the book, so that it becomes easier. Remember, there's not only one book, there's nearly four of these mustawayat, 4 levels. And the further you go, the more Al-Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk covers. And if you cover book 1 successfully, you'll notice that there's more pronouns that come by. You don't need to hurt your head with everything at first. You need to cover what's necessary according to the text itself, inshallah ta'ala. So if you look at these pronouns that we have already, ka, ki, and ya. That's why, hence, if you look at the text itself, you notice that ismi, ismuki, haluki. Okay, before we even look at the other ones, masmuka, haluka, mathalan, like that. These are pronouns, and they are known as pronouns attached. Attached pronouns. These are known as attached pronouns. How do you use them? You can use them for both verbs and nouns, but in this case, it's nouns. If I say qalam, and I want you to say my pen, the word qalam means pen, مثلا. I want you to add here, you add the ya, and the ya will mean my pen. So if I literally underline, this is red and this is red, my pen. If I tell you, for example, if I give you the word daftar, daftar means exercise book. There's a textbook and an exercise book. Textbook is kitab. Okay, daftar is the exercise book that you use to write your notes. Daftar, if I want you to say daftaruka, what would you say? Ka or ki, like this. So how do you say it? Daftaruka. Daftaruka or daftaruki, isn't it? Now I would want to change these diacritics in this one to red so you can understand. Look, daftaruka or daftaruki, daftaruka or daftaruki. If you go back to the text itself, ماذا يدلك? يدلك على ماذا? What does it indicate to you? What does it indicate to you? That the kaf fatha is used for your male and the kaf kasra is used for your female. That's why you notice masmuki, masmuki, isn't it? Masmuki. Now let's break let's break these down word to word. Now you've seen the pronouns, these specific pronouns. We said these first ones are ضمائر متصلة. These are attached pronouns. Attached pronouns, not pronouns attached. Attached pronouns, because they are attached to the noun at the end. They are attached to the word. It can be both nouns and verbs at the very end in this case. So if you come over here, you notice this is what you have. We've looked at كيف حالك, how are you, your hal, how is your hal. Okay, masmuka, what is your name. So this is how the pronouns look like. Lakin, what I want us to do is go further than that to break down these words word after word. Khalid says assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Khalid, this is simple. Ismi. Now because you know the pronouns, what they mean, ism means name. Ism means name. So when you say ismi, my name is Khalid. Masmuka, this is a questioning tool. Ma, for example. Now let me give you an example. Look, when it comes to questioning tools, you will notice that there's more than just ma. There's aina, man, and those, such as, look, ma, man, aina, like this. But I don't want to bring to your attention everything. I just want to bring to your attention one to begin with. And this is ma. That's what we looked at. Ma means what? Okay, ma means what? Man, however, means who. And ayna means where. So which one suits the most of what we are trying to cover? What is your name? So that's why you find that the sa'il, the questioner in this case, which is Khalid, he says, Masmuk, Masmuka, what is your name? What is your name? So you can see, you can connect the dots, the piece of the puzzle, and then the word, okay, and then ma, like this. Khalil says, Ismi, my name, Khalil. Khalid now says, Kayfa. Kayfa means how, okay? Haluka, your hal, your condition. How is your hal? How is your condition? Hence you say, how are you? Which puts everything together without needing for you to do what? To say, okay, I need to break this down. I need to ask, how is your condition? Someone will be asking, what condition? But when you say, how are you? It means everything. Financially, physically, mentally, family-wise, everything, relation. How are you basically generally, in general? It covers everything. Now you decide to say if everything is good, or maybe you start, it's like a conversation starter. That's why. Like if you look carefully now, so if you look carefully, you notice kayfa haluka, you just say how are you. You don't need to say you're so and so. That makes it difficult. Khalil says bikhair, basically with blessings. Walhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Wa kayfa haluka anta. Forget about the anta now. Just look at haluka. Khalid says bikhair, alhamdulillah, which means good. Khawla, assalamu alaikum. Khadija, wa alaikum assalam. Same process. Ismi, my name is Khawla. Masmuki, what is your name? Now notice, ma is the same, ism is the same, ismuki, ismuki, like that. So something that I want to bring to your attention, which the author rahimahullah ta'ala did beautifully, is this repetition. At-tikrar. What did he do? Continual repetition. What is this? This means that he constantly used the same words while building on them, so that the mind and the ears can be used to listening and seeing them. Okay? Your eyes are used to seeing those words, and your ears are used to hearing those words, and your tongue is used to literally pronouncing the same words every now and then. Similar to that of when you say, I want food, mathalan. I want bread. Or let's say, I want to go to the masjid. Okay, I want to sleep. Those are words you use every day. Sleep, food, masjid, home, house, couch, TV, mobile phone, work, studies. You notice those are words that every single day you use them. So what he started with are the common words that you're going to hear every single day, number one. And on top of that, he repeated them in the first conversation for the men, second conversation for the women. And you notice it makes it easier for the mind to register, inshallah ta'ala. So when you do that, you end up realizing it becomes much, much easier. Now, let's move on. So that's the end of the first piece of what we've covered. But what we need to realize is anta, anti. What is the anta and anti as well over here? Which you're going to see them as we move along. We're going to see them as we move along, because there are those other two conversations, first for the males and then the second one for the females. First, you notice from then there is ana used and anta used as well, and it becomes much easier for you to notice. But notice this. As we said, these are dama'ir muttasila. These are attached pronouns. This one, ka. Let me wipe this off. Yes. Ka meaning you or your for men. And this one is for women. This one is for women, which means the same thing as this one. The same. And this one means my or me. Okay, my or me, for example, depending on where you use it. But in this case, it's my. It's my, showing possession, isn't it? Lakin, when it comes to pronouns, there are two types. الضمائر الضمائر, they are of two types. متصلة and منفصلة. Please don't hurt your head thinking, okay, what's going on here? It's very simple. It's just technical terms. Okay, technical terms. متصلة, attached pronouns, and these ones are detached pronouns. Understood? ضمائر means pronouns. Single of pronouns is الضمير. نعم. Now what are the detached pronouns? أنا, أنت, أنتِ. Those are the ones that you are seeing right now. أنا, أنت, أنتِ. أنا means I. أنت means you for the men. Okay? For the man. And أنتِ means you for the female. Is that very clear? So when you say أنا مسلم, I am a Muslim, that means for the man, I am a Muslim. أنا مسلمة, I am a Muslimah, that means I'm a Muslim for the female. أنت, it means you are. أنت means you are. أنت مسلم, you are a Muslim. أنتِ مسلمة, you are a Muslim for the female. You notice the difference. أنت, أنتِ. أنا is used for both genders in this case. But we're not going to cover this now. We're going to cover this when we come to the next lesson as still part of this first wahda. This first unit, we divided it to two because it's just the introduction of Al-Arabiyyah to Bayna Yadayk. So what we are going to do is just cover the first bit, then in the next lesson we cover the next bit, next part of this wahda, this unit. Then from then we're going to start breaking down, we're going to start going through unit after unit depending on how long it is. Not every single unit is possible to be covered in one class, otherwise it's going to be very long. But we're going to cover as much as we could for every single class, inshallah ta'ala. But up to now, you've already understood that ismi means my name. Ismuka means your name for the man. Ismuki means what? Your name for the woman. Kayfa haluka for the man. Kayfa haluki for the woman. And each one of them say بخير والحمد لله. Each one of them say بخير والحمد لله. And not only that, you also learnt how you use those pronouns. Inshallah ta'ala. For that bi'idhnillahi al-kareem, what we are going to do now is we're going to go through the homework itself that we have, and we need to cover it inshallah ta'ala so that you can understand, okay, I've learnt all this, but how do I apply it? I've learnt through this, how do I apply it? So let's go forth bi'idhnillah. Mustafa says, Assalamu alaikum. Anta or anti, depending on what gender you are. What would you say? Then Mustafa says, Ismi Mustafa. Masmuka or masmuki. Mustafa asks, Kayfa haluka or Kayfa haluki. Naam, and this concludes the class for this session. Inshallah ta'ala, for the next session that we have, we're going to carry on with the rest of what we need to cover in order to complete the unit, and then do another homework, lakin compounding on what we've already done. So what we've already done, we're going to use those same lessons and then add on them with the new lessons, inshallah ta'ala, so that it can become much easier. So you're building up. So you're not just studying and then you're leaving like that. You're building up, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum.